young guy in his early 20s, and I really, really enjoyed, as an older woman with a child and a relationship, I just loved putting myself into the shoes of this young man and just being really irresponsible and thinking, what can I get away with? How would I actually act if I was a man? Probably pretty badly. And it was fun. It's really fun. No offense to any males.
Rob, your latest feature film, Two Little Boys, which is coming out in September, that's also, was that an adaptation as well in a way? Or?
Yeah, we've just finished a film that was an adaptation of my brother's book, but it just sort of shows how weird and elongated the process was. We started, it was actually based on a film idea originally, or on some writing to create a film idea. And then we sort of wrote a little bit of the film, probably the first third of it, and we're quite excited by it, and then thought, maybe this is more a television series. So wrote it up as a television series, pitched it, got turned down, thought, okay, we sort of, the whole project went on the back burner. I went off and made another film, and Duncan showed some of the writing that he'd done for the original source material for the original feature film idea, and to Penguin, and they said, oh, could you write it as a novel? So he wrote it as a novel. I finished the film I was doing out of the blue, and read the novel, and went, oh, this is terrific, it should be a film. And I already had the rights. So we started while Duncan was literally at the same time, the same sort of 3-month period while Duncan was working on the second draft of the novel. We were also working on the first draft, or the rough draft of the screenplay, and so we come full circle. Yeah, it's a different, and I think it's like any project's going to come. They come from different places. They form in different ways. Some are simple. Some take 7 years. Two Little Boys that we've just done took 5 years. So we all kind of recognise that it's a long road. But I agree with what Kirstin said about, well, not agree. What Kirstin said about the novel being the source material, being the thing, kind of the guiding light, is so important. Whether you've got source material or not, you don't have source material and it's your own material, and fortunately you had essentially your own material in the documentary, it still becomes a guiding light, something that when you get lost, and you will, you can go back to and go, right, why was I so excited about this 7 years ago? Right? And why was John Barnett excited about it? Or why was whoever excited about it? Most importantly, you. Yeah. And you can always go back to that and chuck out what you've done, or just not chuck out, but sort of kind of rip it up and chuck it in the air and sort of see what floats down onto the new page. If you're not, 1,000% confident in that initial source material, then it's not worth putting the effort into.
There's another way of saying that, and it's don't be cynical. Like if you approach making a feature film with any cynicism at all about the story that you're telling, I think you will be in trouble, because you've got to be passionate enough to sustain that journey. And yes, you can't go, okay, I'm going to make a horror film because that will be really successful because horror films are cool right now. If that's what your thought process is, you probably should do something else, because it's too hard and it's too long for any cynicism.
Yeah, and that goes for shorts or features. When we did the one of the tender groups, and so I've had the dubious pleasure of reading about 500 scripts over 2 years for that, 500 different scripts, of which we funded 6, I think, 5 or 6. You could sort of tell when people were trying to please the funders, and actually the funders, which in our case were just other filmmakers, we didn't want to be pleased, we didn't want to be pandered to, we wanted to be excited by something, we wanted to read something and go, wow, I want to see that on the big screen. Which is pretty, in the end, a pretty simple gut response to something. We just wanted to go, yeah. And I concur. You know, as soon as you start to, you know, sort of try to write something that you think could get made because that's the current fashion, then wrong way to think. However, I think you need to be, or it's good to be, or useful to be savvy about the decisions that you make. You know, we talked before about the idea being the most important thing. From my point of view, it is. If the idea is the most important thing, it's also sort of the easiest thing to come up with. It's the fastest thing to come up with. You can have an idea for a feature film in a day, right? And if you do, it's quite likely going to be quite a good one. You can get quite excited about it and sort of, you know, put it all on the page. The great thing is that you don't have to develop that into your short or feature film, right? You can kind of put it up on the wall with the other ideas that you've had, and go, well, what's A, the one I'm most excited about, and B, what would be a savvy choice? It's okay to, I think you've got to make savvy decisions because there's so much competition, but firstly you've got to be excited about it. And you know, I've got huge numbers of ideas that just sort of sit, you know, in, you know, a bottom file in my computer.
Why don't you just put them into the cloud, Robin? Like, we can help us out.
Yeah, because they're not that great. But when if you've just got one idea, then you don't know how good it is. When you've got something to compare it with, because you've got another bunch of ideas that you've sort of been gestating, then the one really good one will stick out for you. Or what often happens is they'll start to cross-pollinate a little bit, and then that's when you start to get really original work, because it's not the front of head stuff,